Good morning, Fabio Nanetti for Winston Capital Advisors. We're covering the week of January 14 through the 18th. Let me hold 1 second. There you go. And a couple of things. The markets are doing very well. We're going to talk a little bit about that. China-US conversations keep going and moving. A little bit of Brexit. We started the season of reporting mainly with the banks. Netflix is the only one that is not from that side, but we're going to talk about that. We have Davos coming this week, and then what earnings are coming this week. So the first thing is the markets are up 6.5% since the beginning of the year. That's for the S&P. The Nikkei is 3.5. Europe is 5.5. The big winner is Brazil, 13%, which we like a lot, and then emerging market is 6%. So my only question is, that's the way we started last year, and we ended up kind of crying. And it's very interesting that the S&P went down 6% last year. And in the first 20 days of January, we are up 6%. So we made all the money from 18 in 3 weeks. Are we going too fast? Are we going a little crazy? I don't know. I think we have discussed a lot this issue with the Fed, the speed of the economy, the China-US relationships. So for now, we like it. For now, it's good. We're going to publish the Bulldog this weekend, this coming week, and we're going to discuss that more in detail about what we think about this early rally. Remember that at the end of the year, we said that there were 4 legs for a rally, and somehow it has happened. And again, more will come this week on the Bulldog, talking about what we think is going on there. China-US, a lot of advances. We have at the end of the month the meeting with the top premier for economic issues in China, Liu He. And on Friday, China announced that they're willing to completely erase their commercial surplus with the United States. No details, but it was an official announcement. So clearly the markets are thinking that if they fix this problem, it's a win-win for everybody. And remember, our big thing has been for a long time, more than the regular trade of goods, the issue that the U.S. wants to have free access to China, not being forced to transfer technology, not being forced to do joint ventures, and get into sectors in which the United States is very strong, like finance, technology, services, etc. So, but this moves there. Brexit, as expected, a double fiasco. On one side, the deal was rejected overwhelmingly by the parliament. On the other hand, Theresa May still survived a no confidence vote. Allegedly, on the news today, she might have a plan B to work something. We don't really know what's going to happen. Brussels is prepared to extend the deadline, but apparently it's a deadline that Prime Minister May have not asked for. So we'll see what's the story. We might have some news today. The season started reporting with the banks. It was very mixed. You have Citi and Goldman with great numbers, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley with not so great numbers. The only silver lining on the banks is that you see finally that the spread on rates is making a good money for the banks, especially for the big commercial banks. Now banks are charging above 2% for loans, but they're still paying clients under 1%. So that spread is widening, and that's good for banks. Finally and lately came because that was the bet for almost 2 years on the banking sector, on the financials, and it has not worked out. But you see it for the first time. But however, a mixed bag on the banks. Netflix, one of our favorites, reported 7.5 million new users, above expectations. The stock went down a little bit, but remember, has gone up actually for the year it's up more than 20%, but on the week was up 7-8% before the news, because it's announced increase in tariffs of 18%, and we all know the thing is very, very sticky. The company now has 135 million users worldwide. It added 30 million in 2018, the record for them, and the company keeps going apace. As a parameter, there are 1 billion users of cable in the world, and maybe that's where Netflix eventually will go. 300-400 million users, who knows? But clearly, the firm has shown no signs of slowing down in acquiring users. Clearly, it spends a lot of money, creates content, the margins are not there. But as far as the company keeps growing, I think the market will keep believing. We like it, we own it, we're there. Tesla announced that next year will be extremely difficult. That's very strange because Mr. Elon Musk is always super optimistic about everything. However, we'll see what it is. It reported okay numbers, but it announced that it's going to cut 7% of the sales force because of these challenges with producing the Model 3 at the right prices and with the right P&L. And then this week we have Davos. It starts, I think, on Tuesday. We'll follow, many. The U.S. delegation, unfortunately, is not going because of the government shutdown, but it will be many others like President Putin, all the leaders in Europe, many leaders from Latin America, probably principally Jair Bolsonaro, new president of Brazil. We're really looking into that. And like always, we'll follow through and see what we might get, what we might happen. Who reports this week? On Tuesday, IBM and Johnson & Johnson. On Wednesday, Texas Instrument, Ford, and Procter & Gamble. On Thursday, American Airlines, Intel, and Starbucks. No one that's very important on Friday. The following week, when we start having the Facebooks, the Amazons, the Googles, the other big names in technology that everybody follows. That's what we have. It's a short week. We start on Tuesday after the MLK weekend. Have a great weekend. And like always, more information at our page, winston.capital. And for our subscribers, every morning at 9:45 a.m. New York time, live reporting from the markets. Have a great week.